All right, now. I'm getting so good at this, you guys wouldn't believe. Like 2 years ago, oh, what a mess. All right, play from current slide. And come on. And wait, I'm gonna fix it. Use slideshow. All right, good. All right, so quality of food is so like the most important thing when you're choosing food. You're thinking about the quality of the food. And there's two different ways to kind of define food here. That one is calorie density and the other is nutrient density. So calorie density is the amount of calories per weight, and nutrient density is the amount of nutrients per weight. So if you're trying to be healthy and get to a healthy weight, lose weight, get rid of diseases, you want things that are super nutrient dense and more on the low side for calorie density. So I'll give you some examples. This is a chart of calorie density. So on the far left, you have water. So, and this is looking at like a pound of the food. So this has 0 calories because we're just talking about calories now, not nutrients. Vegetables have about 100 calories per pound. Fruits have 300 calories per pound, just in general on average. Grains, whole grains and starches have 500 calories per pound, and legumes have 600 calories per pound. So those are like the green light foods go, which is basically what we've been doing, a whole food plant-based diet. And then the two yellow ones are avocados and nuts and seeds. And they're yellow because it's kind of like slow. You don't want to eat them unlimited because they are higher in calories at 750 per pound for avocados, although I have an avocado every day. And nuts and seeds are 2,800 per pound, but you're not gonna eat a pound of nuts, right? A serving size is 1/4 cup. So that's why the serving size is 1/4 cup, and you get all the nutrients you need in the 1/4 cup, but they're filling. And then the red foods are higher in calorie density. Animal products have about 1,000 per pound. Processed carbs are 1,400. That's things like bread, cereals, refined pastas, processed foods. Junk food like cookies, donuts that have added sugars and stuff are 2,300 calories per pound. And oils and fats have 4,000 calories per pound. So when everyone's talking about why no oil, it's like, you know, way more. Of course, you're not going to drink a pound of oil, but it's super dense. So when you're just going like tablespoon per tablespoon, these are the things you want to avoid, the red foods, when you're just talking about calorie density. But then you want to also at the same time really up your nutrient density. So what has the most nutrition per pound? It's really your green leafy vegetables, watercress, Chinese cabbage, spinach, you know, all the green leafy vegetables and fruits and vegetables have the most nutrition per pound. And of course, these are all what we call empty calories because you're getting no nutrition.
Is Chinese cabbage not choy?
No,
I don't think so.
Similar family, but Chinese cabbages, they're bigger.
Is it like Napa cabbage?
Yeah.
It's that crispy, ruffly one.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you mean by nutrients exactly?
So all the gifts for your body, so vitamins, minerals, but also like there's all these phytochemicals found in plant foods that have antioxidant properties, and they literally act in your body to decrease inflammation. They have powerful anti-cancer effects. They balance the pH in your body so you can have a body that's more in a metabolic state to fight off disease. So, and also fight off like all kinds of disease, not just cancer, but like heart disease and stomach ulcers and autoimmune diseases, different amino acids. What else? So like whenever in my cooking class, that I'm doing on a monthly basis, I always talk about the gifts. So each ingredient, every single ingredient that we cook with has a gift. There's something in it that's good for you. Whereas these empty calories that have no nutrition are literally stealing your health, and they have zero gifts to offer. So not good choices when you're making a choice for your health. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So Rip Esselstyn, who's Caldwell Esselstyn's son, and Caldwell Esselstyn wrote this book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. For anyone with a family history of coronary artery disease, if you don't know if you have it, but you have, a first-degree relative with it, or you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, this is a great book to read. And it just talking to a doctor friend of mine who didn't realize that like the plaques within the arteries can literally reverse. This is 18 months later, where this narrowing with all the plaques and the blood couldn't get through this artery in the heart opened up. And so anyway, he has this,
Again, Sandy,
say that again.
what's the name of the book?
Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease.
Thank you.
Caldwell Esselstyn was featured in that movie Forks Over Knives. But his son, Rip Esselstyn, is a triathlete, fire engine, cute guy who wrote a book called The Engine 2 Diet. And he actually was a fireman down in Austin, Texas, and he challenged all his like firemen friends to eat the way he did. And he kind of started this whole Jumpstart movement where he checked everyone's cholesterol and blood pressure and weight before. And then he cooked for his firemen friends for a month and then did it all after. And it was like, whoa. And then he wrote this book kind of like for guys, like chili and like fireman food. And so that's the Engine 2 diet. And he actually has a line of foods that are sporadically here and there.
If you go on the website, Forks Over Knives, he does a lot of the cooking on that website.
So he has this quote that says, here's what people don't understand about feeling full. It has nothing to do with the food's caloric content and everything to do with the food's volume. And so I just want to show you this picture about if you were to just eat 500 calories, limit to 500 calories, this is how much your stomach would fill up. Just gonna minimize this. So, and this isn't like real life. You're not gonna eat just 500 calories of oil, but you could, and that's what it would look like. It wouldn't fill up very much. And if you just had cheese, it fills up a little more, and meat. But you see the rice, beans, potatoes, and fruits and veggies, if you eat 500 calories of those, it's much more filling. And there's these stretch receptors in your stomach that make you feel full. But it's more complicated than that. There's also, when you eat things with fiber, it stimulates certain hormones in your small intestine that tell your brain, I'm full. And if someone else doesn't have that enzyme or hormone in their gut, because they have different gut biome, they're not going to feel as full, even if they eat the same thing. We're going to get to that. My favorite. All right. So I just want to talk about healthy fats for a minute. The general thing is eat them whole, which is like kind of everything we're talking about, like whole food, plant-based. Healthy fats are found in all plant foods because the cell wall of every cell in every plant is made of a phospholipid layer. So that's like the fat that's part of, so you don't think of broccoli as having fat, but it does. So it's like people are, don't you need fat? But you get it. It's more concentrated in nuts, seeds, avocados, coconuts, and olives. And fat soluble vitamins are an important, sources, these healthy fats, antioxidants, and fatty acids all come from these, flax seeds, chia seeds, nuts. So in a whole food plant-based diet, you want to eat the olives whole, the nuts in the shell, and the coconut shredded, as opposed to coconut oil, olive oil. And I say nuts in the shell because you're meant, if you think about eating a walnut, if you were to have a bowl of walnuts in a shell, how many would you eat with that cracker thing and the kid? I'd eat like 2 or 3 before I'd be like, it's a process, but if you had a bowl of shelled walnuts, you could probably eat the whole bowl, right? But we were meant to eat them in the shell. It slows you down and you eat them kind of in the right amount. So different kinds of fats. On the left are the trans fats, which they've they're so bad they banned them from food products, but we all grew up eating margarine and they were in every single baked good, and it's horrible for heart disease. Saturated fats are found in coconuts, but mostly in animal fats. So you want to avoid all the saturated fats. And unsaturated fats are either monosaturated or polyunsaturated. The avocados, nuts and seeds, and olives are the healthiest form. You can get healthy fats in fish, but it comes along with the saturated fats in the fish, animal protein, and potentially pollutants and mercury from our oceans, which is very sad. So omega-3 fatty acids are super, super important nutrient to get. Good for a lot of things, found in the ground flax seeds. That's why I keep pushing the flax seeds every day. Spinach has omega-3s, chia seeds, walnuts, kale, and salmon. But so eat your nuts and seeds. The walnuts have a great omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. There's this whole ratio thing, and so they're very good for you, but they also have something really unique. Where is it? They have this gamma tocopherol, which is an unusually high found in walnuts. Oh, this thing, the quinone juglone, is this phytonutrient that's virtually found in like no other food that we eat. Just super healthy antioxidant, but they're calorically dense, so you don't want to overdo it. And then another push for flax seeds and chia seeds, super healthy for you. They improve blood pressure, lower fasting glucose levels, lower your cholesterol, specifically your triglycerides, help decrease central obesity. They have anti-cancer effects and decrease inflammation. Just make sure you grind them, but try to get them every day.
As we started, chia pudding. So delicious.
Tell them how to make it.
It really could not be easier. So you take like a jar, like a 6 to 8 ounce, maybe 6 ounce jar, and you put whatever nut milk you want in it, soy, oat, almond, and then you add 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds right in there, and then you close it and you shake it up really good and let it sit overnight in the fridge, and then the next morning you'll go look at it and you'll see that it's formed this kind of somewhere between Jello and
Here.
add like vanilla, maple syrup, handful of blueberry, chocolate chips, like that. Shake it. Just drink like 3 or 4 swigs of it, and or with a spoon, and it's just really.
Tell me the
delicious.
ratio again of chia seeds to milk.
I do like a cup of milk and maybe like 2 tablespoons. of
Okay,
chia
2
seeds.
tablespoons of chia seeds to a cup of milk.
You really shake it because the chia seeds tend to clump up together. You really shake it, and they separate out. You just leave it overnight. And it's just a great like. If you have a sweet tooth, it's a great little like desserty kind of thing, and the chia seeds, of course, are great for multiple things. Not to mention the
So good.
pipes.
Good for the pipes.
Chocolate nib,
Cleaning the
chocolate
pipes.
nibs in there.
Chocolate nibs or the flaked coconut that
Yeah.
Ella used to do in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can make it more desserty, or you can make it more like breakfasty, put in frozen blueberries.
I find that Pinterest has a ton of chia pudding recipes, from like coconut cream cake, so to speak, to any flavor you want, really.
I probably stole this from Pinterest.
So
Speaking of that, so if you haven't tried this, you can make a flaxseed egg out of flaxseed. 1 tablespoon of flaxseed with 3 tablespoons of water, and you just mix it up and let it sit for a few minutes and use it in a recipe in place of an egg. And it looks like that. And that's a great way to get it in. If you compare eggs to your flaxseed egg, it's 35 versus 70 calories, 2.5 grams of fat versus 5 grams, 1.5 grams of protein versus 6 grams. Yes, eggs have more protein, but they also have 211 milligrams of cholesterol and no fiber, whereas the flaxseed egg has no cholesterol and 2 grams of fiber. So it's just way healthier. So how many olives does it take to make 1 tablespoon of olive oil? This was a really hard thing to answer because it depends what kind of olives you use. So like use these little ones. It could take 75 small green olives, 40 ripe black olives, 20 medium mission olives, 20 jumbo, but you get the point. It's a lot of olives pressed to get that juice. So like when you're trying to decide between, well, what's the difference if you know, you guys were asking olives versus olive oil. So here's 120 calories of each and what it looks like. So 120 calories, you could eat 20 olives or a tablespoon of olive oil. The olives only have 20% fat. They have protein and carbs in them as well, where this is a 100% fat product as far as the macronutrients. And fiber, 0 fiber in the olive oil, and you get 3.2 grams of fiber in your olives. So eat them whole. Do you guys want to hear about a study with mice that will prove to you how important your gut biome is, or you want to pass that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
No,
do
I
it.
have. I gotta know now.
All right, it's like the coolest study ever. And we keep threatening to drop this slide, but I just, so they took these mice and they're called germ-free mice. So meaning they're born by C-section in a sterile, like, you know, operating room, and they're put in a sterile cage. So they're gut, normally when a baby is born, there's no bacteria from the mouth through the whole GI tract and out. They're clean. And when they're born in your environment, you get exposed to different bacteria, and that's what colonizes your gut and gives you all your gut bacteria. But these mice were kept sterile, fed sterile water, sterile food, kept in sterile cages, handled by sterile lab people. And they raised them. And then they took different phenotype mice, meaning normal sized mice, obese mice, and skinny mice. And they took their poop, this is gross, and they smear it on the mouse's fur. And the mice are always cleaning themselves. So they lick the poop as they're cleaning themselves. And that is how they get their bacteria. So they take on whatever bacteria was in these different kinds of mice, and they ingest it, and it colonizes their whole tract. So their whole tract is growing with the same bacteria. Got you with me so far?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so then they continue to feed them the same exact number of calories, the same amount of water, they're exercising the same amount. And the ones that get this poop get fat, and the ones that get this poop get skinny, and the ones that get this poop stay the same, even though they're eating the same exact number of calories, right? So what does that mean? Our poop plays a huge role, the bacteria in our poop play a huge role in our metabolism, how we extract nutrients and calories from food, how our brain perceives our fullness on what we're eating. It's super, super important. There's literally trillions more bacteria in your gut than there are human cells in your whole body. If you look at all the cells in your body, only 10% of your cells are human cells. The other 90% is your gut bacteria. It's a fascinating read. Favorite books. So, what does good bacteria do for you? So this is just cutting to the chase. It decreases, if you have the good bacteria from like that skinny mouse, it decreases the calories absorbed from food. It decreases the amount of calories from food that's put into fat storage, decreases inflammation and endotoxin production in your gut. You've heard of leaky gut, like it improves that. It increases the mucus layer in the gut, which is actually a good thing. A lot of people think that's bad, but it's this protective layer in your gut that makes it stronger. Increases enzyme in the gut that makes you feel full. These ones, PYY and GLP-1, this is like very sciencey, but this is like so important, because if you make these, this is what communicates to your brain to say, I feel full. So like two people could be eating the same meal, and one person who has the skinny mice poop kind of will feel full faster than the one who doesn't. And it has, and this is like real science, but it has to do with brain chemistry, gut chemistry, and not to mention your immune system. And with COVID, when they were finding that people who had obesity were not faring as well with COVID, a lot of it has to do with their response to the infection. This is all to say that your gut bacteria is super important to your health. So how do you improve your gut health? This is like a food pyramid for getting good bacteria there, that skinny mouse poop bacteria. So fresh cooked and fermented vegetables. This is going to start to sound familiar. Whole vegetables, whole fruits, legumes, bean, tofu, tempeh, whole grains, rice, pasta, sourdough, and then a little bit of nuts, fats, and oil. Sound familiar? So a whole food plant-based diet really supports gut health.
What about probiotics? Oh.
So, you know, when you eat a whole food plant-based diet, you're feeding the good bacteria. So you get more and more like good kinds of bacteria, and the kind of bad bacteria dies off. They've done these studies that show if you eat this way, your gut bacteria changes. But to help it along, you can eat more fermented foods, which is like a natural form of probiotics. So I'm Ukrainian, so I grew up on sauerkraut and I make my own. But all the different cultures of the world have natural forms of fermented foods. Organic miso from Japan and kimchi from Korea is an amazing spicy cabbage.
Kimchi has some fish ingredient.
Mm.
Yeah, you have to get vegan. If you're gonna buy it, you have to get vegan.
They sell it, the, what is that? Isn't it called Chi, like CHI Kitchen? It's a Rhode Island company. Kombucha, Randy makes his own kombucha. Tempeh has natural fermented soybean in it. Unstable connection. So yeah, I like to keep a little bit of sauerkraut in my fridge. It's not like a huge thing, but like as part of my, like a really healthy plate, I'll have a spoonful of that. I don't eat like a cup of it, I just eat a little bit.
Isn't there a lot of sugar in kombucha?
Randy?
I don't think so. You make it with a lot of sugar, but then the SCOBY, the yeast and the bacteria eat that sugar. I don't think the sugar content in the kombucha itself is all that high once it's made. Use sugar to make it.
It depends on what brand you buy too. Some brands have more sugar in it than others.
Yeah, and you do use a ton of salt to make sauerkraut, but you can actually rinse some of that out without losing the good bacteria. So yeah, it's something you supplement with your food. And you can buy probiotics, you know, in the pill form, but I like doing things the natural way. So the benefits of fiber, a diet high in fiber increases your beneficial bacteria. It lowers your blood cholesterol, increases fullness, more regular stools, promotes weight loss, and decreases cancer risk. Dr. Barnard, who's president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine and has done a lot of diabetes reversal research. He recommends 40 grams of fiber for all adults. These are the recommendations from the American Heart Association and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietitian. But so if you were to add up how much fiber you get in a day before doing this, like you could easily get 0 to 5. I used to work in the pediatric obesity clinic and I would do these diet recalls and I feel like you literally had no fiber today. You know, if you have white bread and you have a white pancake with syrup for breakfast and a salami sandwich for lunch and, you know, cheese pizza for dinner, there's no fiber in animal products whatsoever. So cheese and all the meat have 0. Fiber only comes from plant foods. And it's they did a study, 97% of Americans are not getting the recommended amount of fiber. And that's why like everyone's constipated and Marilax is one of the most popular drugs out there. But you don't need it if you eat your fiber. So the highest foods in fiber are beans by far, beans, legumes. So if they're part of your diet and you're having them two to 3 times a day, you will not need Marilax. High fiber cereals like all bran, grape nuts, green peas and corn are 2 of the vegetables with the highest amount of fiber. Vegetables like broccoli, carrots, Brussels sprouts, raspberries and other berries have a lot. They have the seeds in them. Fruits, any fruits with the skin always has the highest amount. So eat your pear skins. And my son started eating kiwis with the skin this week. And I always thought, oh, there's a reason we don't eat banana peels in kiwi skins because I feel like they're telling you something, right? But then he's like, no, it's crunchy. So of course I had to try it and it was so interesting. And
But was it good?
It wasn't like, it wasn't fuzzy, and I can't eat peach skins. I'm very like sensory averse, and it was edible. Have you ever seen the vines and the leaves, those huge prickly leaves, and the vines are like hairy and prickly? They eat them regularly. That's like a regular dish. And when you cook them up, I don't know. It
They
just,
use it as wrap. You
Yeah.
steam it and wrap rice.
yeah, like the fuzzy things just go away. It's fascinating. The whole grains, of course, nuts, seeds, and flax and chia seeds. I'll come back to that.
The
So-
skin thing is also like how you prepare it. So like if you take a kiwi and you like slice it like lengthwise, so it's like discs, and each one has a little wrap of skin around it, you won't even notice it. So if you like take a bite, it's so much different. And also with like butternut squash, we always like struggling to take the skin off of the butternut squash, and you know, cutting yourself, and the knife is killing you. And if you just cut it into thin strips and cook it with the skin, you eat it, it adds to it. You don't even notice it.
I know,
Squash
because like delicata squash,
it.
you eat the skin. So right, I was like, oh, then why not butternut?
Yeah, you can.
But like if you leave it in the oven, it gets like caramelized. It's delicious. Yeah.
Well, if I was gonna say, you know, directly banana skin, I can't remember what, but there is this thing called banana skin bacon.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
actually- you can actually take banana skin,
Yeah.
and I forget.
You
I forget what
marinate
you,
it.
right, you marinate it and bananas, and it essentially, and I think you have a little bit of liquid smoke or something, so
Yeah.
it winds up being, and then you basically can fry it up and it
Fascinating.
becomes actually a bacon.
Wow.
So I mean, bacon, right, so just, you know,
Wow, banana peel bacon,
I've seen that.
five stars from 83 reviews.
so I'm saying, you know, so I mean, so like all of these skins that we can't eat, they're not
Right.
technically, you
Yeah,
know,
they're not.
pretty, but we just have to, you gotta do some things to modify.
And all
them,
like
break
the, when you
them
get a cauliflower and it has all like the leaves on
Yeah.
it, they're totally edible and delicious and so good for you. The beet greens are one of the highest
Yeah.
nutrient dense vegetables out there, and everyone chops them off.
Our cat eats.
Hmm?
Our cat eats the beet greens. And greens.
Maybe you should too. Have you tried them?
Yes.
No,
No,
not the beet
not
greens.
They're really good. They're very similar to Swiss chard in the
Mm.
same family. You know, when we eat this greens on purpose with Swiss chard, but in beets we throw them out.
Those leaves.
Well, this is related to a fig, so.
Is it?
Mhm. If you remember 4 weeks ago, this was sitting here with sticks and nothing green, and I thought it was plastic and it's
That's
green.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is-
It's a relative of the fig. So the health benefits of fiber, high fat, high protein, super heart healthy, low glycemic index, so it helps regulate your blood sugar, decreases cancer risk. In one study where they had only 3 cups a week, there was lower rates of cancer. High in fiber helps prevent constipation. They're very filling. They're inexpensive, one of the least expensive sources of protein, and they're super nutrient rich with antioxidants, iron, vitamins, folate. Eat your beans.
So what, I mean, any specific recommendations?
Yes.
Okay.
You're reading my mind. He's a planted there. So hummus is a great way to get in chickpeas, but you can throw in an addition like white beans and puree, make your own, and you get more beans in your as a hummus dip. And you can use it on your salad, thin it out as a dressing. You can put it in a wrap with lots of roasted veggies, or you can just dip vegetables into it. You can make a 5-bean soup and get lots of different beans. And then any salad, I love throwing in beans. Here's a great, power plate salad where you have your legumes, your whole grain, and your vegetables. And I don't know what that is, but it looks like mango. Looks so good. Fruits, vegetables, beans, and grains all together. And whenever you make any kind of soup, you can just think, could I add a can of beans to this? So like say you're making, sometimes I'll do like an asparagus soup or a broccoli soup. So easy, you just do like a box. I saute like an onion, then put a box of veggie broth and garlic, and then like a whole thing of asparagus. And then I use my immersion blender. And then to make it thicker, you can throw in a can of white beans. and it adds protein, it adds fiber, and it makes it filling. And you can substitute the asparagus with any vegetable with that recipe. It's like so easy. You just throw in a head of broccoli and cook it with, and then you can change up your spices. I usually add like tarragon or dill. I always add garlic, and I always start with the onion to get your allium.
I was talking to somebody before the start of class, and you want to thicken any soup, you just blend a can of beans and you just add it into the soup, and it just thickens soup instead of having to add cream or oil to thicken soup. So any soup that you want to do, just
So I made a black bean soup. I've been doing more cooking without recipes, just challenge myself. I was like, why do you have to drain the beans? You know, and I did some research and I decided I'm not going to, because they were organic. They didn't have excess sodium. And that's two of the reasons. So I just threw in the juice. I was more gassy than ever. So then I like looked at it later, and there is some polysaccharide that's in the liquid that if you drain them and rinse them, and they were like rinse them 3 times to get rid of that polysaccharide that's not digestible, that causes so many gas issues. So then I went down this whole rabbit hole of gas and beans, and the smaller beans are more digestible, like lentils are the easiest, and chickpeas are the worst as far as this polysaccharide. So because a lot of people I know in this class aren't used to having beans every single day, and then you try it and you're like, no, I don't like it, I have so much gas or pain, and it is true, like start small and work up to more beans. So I don't know, how's everyone doing with the whole bean gas thing?
just take a gas pill.
Yeah, the bean, no, it does work.
Gas pill and, eat your beans.
You know, I was eating beans like all the time, generally, and then with Passover, the holiday, like the whole diet changes for some reason. I don't know why, but I've been eating beans for like a week, and I felt so much worse. And I started eating again my diet. It just, I don't know why, it's so helpful in the diet. It just feels so
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
To fill you up and good energy, clean it.
So grilling, because as it gets warmer, I think people stress out because you're always saying hamburger, hot dogs, but you can literally grill any vegetable and they're so good. And when you grill meats, I'm not going to forget all the chemicals, but it like the heat and the fat with the high heat causes this carcinogenic compound. It doesn't happen with veggies. So even if they get a little charred, it's not the same carcinogenic thing that with charred meat that's very, very carcinogenic. Grilled onions are amazing. I add it to everything. Grilled asparagus is so good. It's growing right now. We did this is last summer, we did Beyond Meat sausages, red pepper, zucchini. You can grill fruit. There's pineapple and watermelon, so good. Put nothing on it. Just put them on the grill. Peaches, nectarines, pears, so good. And then there's different kinds of burgers. And this is comparing beef, turkey, Morningstar, Chipotle black bean burger, Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat burger, and Dr. Prager's California Veggie Burger. I just had a student do this maybe last summer, just to kind of look at it. And again, read your ingredients. It comes down to like the first 3 ingredients. When you look at, that the beef is all beef and the turkey's has other stuff in it. Morningstar, I don't like this brand. It has all that plus 23 more ingredients. But if you look at Impossible and Beyond Meat burgers, they're a treat. They're not healthy. So I don't mean to pick on them in particular, but they're like everywhere, and you see them at fast food places. But the first ingredient in Impossible Burgers, soy protein concentrate, which is a super kind of processed form of soy, then coconut oil, and then sunflower oil.
So, yeah, so question, because this gets to the question of like eating out. So we were just at a restaurant, friend having like, if you're out somewhere, is a veggie burger like a bad idea? Because after all, I'm never gonna know what's in it. And some of these things are like, maybe they use Impossible. I mean, like.
Well, you can ask what it is.
Right, but I mean, I don't know, but.
Sometimes they make their own,
Right.
and they're from all veggies, and
Okay, I
so
mean, just,
it's not a terrible choice. The buns are almost always, white processed
Right.
buns and not good for you. You can ask for a lettuce wrap instead of
Mm.
the bun. They do offer that here. But the one of the things I wanted to point out with the Impossible, well, both of them, they order, we're gonna do label reading in a second. They put things in order of what's the most. And they put coconut oil and sunflower oil. If they only used one of them, it would probably be the first ingredient because you add up the two different oils. But they use two different kinds just so it won't be the first ingredient. It's like, it's on purpose.
Sneaky.
Yeah. And this is my favorite brand. That's why I put it up there. Dr. Prager, California Veggie Burgers. There's others that are good for you, but it's not that they have no oil, but the first ingredients are carrots, onions, string beans, you know. The first three is food, not oil, not sugar. Yeah. Sure. I eat them all the time. I'll make a salad and throw a veggie burger on it.
Andy,
In general,
Yes.
but they're
I have a
not
question. So are the Dr. Prager's, are those pretty easy to find or are
Yeah.
those at a natural food store?
Nope,
really,
they're
you can
everywhere
find
now.
grills,
Okay,
And there's also one called
you know, have it as a
Bubba
alternative.
Burger.
yeah,
Pretty good. The Bubba Burger Veggie Burger is a good choice.
okay.
As good as the Dr. Prager burgers.
I like strong roots.
Sue likes strong roots. Veggie-
Strong roots, okay,
Yeah,
You
okay.
can also make your own, like Google I know this might seem like, oh my God, I'm never gonna do that. So like difficult, but just hear me out. You Google whole food plant-based, like pick your favorite thing, chickpea burger, lentil burger, mushroom burger, whatever. And then make them. Yeah, it's gonna take some work. There's a lot of ingredients. You have to make the patties, you have to bake them. But then you put them, I wrap them individually and freeze them all, and they literally last me months.
Yeah, make a
And
double-
so
yeah,
good.
all
Yeah, make a
recipes,
double batch and just freeze them. It's a one-time effort that's totally worth it. And then you can just throw it on the grill or.
The worst part is cleaning the police on it.
And then portobello mushroom, you can just throw that on the grill and just use that in place of a beef patty on a whole wheat bun and throw a bunch of veggies on it, make a guac sauce.
Put a marinade on that.
I usually just do balsamic vinegar with salt and pepper.
But you could.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you're not. doing it.
I'm not going to spend time talking about, I sent these to you guys the first week and I'll send them again if you want. Just, it takes a long time to go through all these, but it's just a list of, these are all vegan restaurants in Rhode Island. More than you might think. And these are vegan restaurants that have vegan options. But again, I love Happy Cow app to find wherever you're traveling. But even if you're at a vegan restaurant, it doesn't mean it's no oil. So it doesn't mean it's whole grain.
And even if you're at a restaurant that there's nothing vegan on the menu, you can say to the waiter, do you have any plant-based options? And they'll a lot of times have things that they recommend or the chef can tweak it.
So just to give Sandy a rest. So we're gonna talk about sort of what to do when you're eating out. Okay, so there are certain cuisines or restaurants that you might want to, focus on because they tend to have more vegan options or plant-based options. So think about your sort of ethnic cuisine or ethnic foods. So, Japanese, you can get vegan rolls or sushi. Substitute the fish for the vegetables, and you could also make your own. They'll make you your own. Like if you say, can you make me a roll with daikon radish and pickled daikon radish or ginger? They'll make you your own. So be creative but they also obviously have them on the menu. Brown rice. Now they make a lot of rolls with brown rice, which will give you a whole grain rather than just the white sushi rice, which is high in carbs and more processed and enriched. Pizza. We all love pizza, right? The thing that's bad on the pizza is the cheese and the oil. So you can ask for pizza without the cheese and just pile on the vegetables. And again, you can put on any kind of vegetables that you want. I found it difficult to ask for pizza without oil though, when you're eating out pizza. Even up here at Plant City, their pizza is delicious, but they do have oil in it.
And they drizzle it on top. So you
yeah.
can say no added oil.
Right.
And that will at least cut
Right.
out this thing they do.
But But try to, stay away from the cheese. So I think, they're using vegan cheese here, so you can all be, and if you want to make your own pizza, grill your pizza at home, you can, put vegan cheese on it. Italian food, so you can swap out your pasta for whole wheat pasta. Obviously, have you been to any Italian restaurants where they're using other grain pastas, chickpea pasta?
Not that
vegetable
much.
pasta? Yeah.
They will. They've got to catch on.
Yeah, I've seen whole wheat pasta, but
Yeah.
haven't seen the other whole grain pastas that you can buy. And then, soups, pasta fagioli with just the vegetables.
And the beans.
And beans, right?
You can ask for extra veggies.
They do have brown rice pasta.
Oh, okay. Okay, good, yeah.
At restaurants?
Some restaurants do.
Nice.
Mexican, another ethnic option. And just again, like the Italian, dishes, just hold the cheese. And I mean, tacos, you guys are making tacos for lunch, right? So vegan tacos you could get with the beans. I've seen some tacos with like just mushrooms too.
Yeah, we just ate at Diego's last night or the night before, right in Wayland Square, and they have a vegan burrito with roasted veggies and mushrooms. It's really good.
So eating out at steakhouses. I actually do this a lot because my husband is not vegan. He loves his steak. So you can certainly ask for salads, but steakhouses, they do, even if it's not on the menu, they do have stuff in the kitchen that they will make for you. So if you're out at a steak restaurant, always ask them, do you have a vegan option that's not on the menu? And they will use, because I think they're catching on that. Not everyone who goes to a steak restaurant like me is not going to order a steak.
And
So-
Al Forno's has an amazing veggie
Yeah.
platter.
Yeah. Capitol Grill has, it's not on their menu, but they have a stir-fried vegetable, and they'll make it with jasmine rice if you ask them. It's really good.
If you're lucky, they grow the vegetables right when they grow where the meat was.
It's not grilled, it's stir-fried. Stir-fried, okay. And then, Chinese or Asian restaurants, there's, tons of options. Because it's a lot of the cuisine is, vegetable based.
And they tend to have tofu,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
most
you could
restaurants
always-
don't have that.
You could always substitute the meat. With tofu.
Just don't get fried tofu. It's like a
Yeah.
sponge. They
Right.
dip it in the oil and it's just like this cube of oil.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
better to not have it at all. I know it's gross.
And
All right.
can I just, one last thing, if you're
Yeah.
really in a
Molly.
pinch, like, do, look at the sides menu, like whatever the sides are, and you could just sort of like, I'll have a side of mushrooms and a side of asparagus and a side of grain, and you kind of make your own meal. Okay, so, there you go.
So as I talk about labels, look at your label. And if you guys on Zoom want to grab a product, any product, doesn't have to be good or bad, just so you can look at the nutrition label as we go along. The whole purpose of the label, like the packaging, is for what? What's the purpose? Yeah, make you buy it. Right. So, kettle cooked. That makes you want to buy this because it's kettle, what does that mean? 40% reduced fat than the leading brand of regular potato chips. Original, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, the Lighthouse. It's just, none of this has anything to do with what's in it. So just the only thing you should look at is the nutrition label. Nothing pretty. Don't look at the front. Just, this is what you should look at. Don't be lured in by all of that. you want to look at the ingredients. That's the most important thing. It tells you what is in it. They're in the order of how they are added. So the first thing is the most. Only buy things that you recognize the words. If it sounds like a chemical plant, don't buy it. So the first three, as a challenge, the first three should not have sugar, oil, or refined carbs. So Jane, I was going to call you June, is holding a late July crackers. And what are the first three ingredients?
Organic wheat flour, organic evaporated cane sugar, organic expeller pressed sunflower oil.
Okay,
and
that's-
or
Oh,
expeller pressed safflower.
so, okay. And then before we get back to that, and look for carbs in their whole form, you need the word whole. Was the word whole in that flour? No.
No,
Even though it's wheat, it doesn't
it's
say
organic.
whole
Organic.
wheat. It says organic, so you think
Right.
it's all good. But basically, the first three ingredients in that are refined flour, sugar, and oil. And the package looks all healthy. Late July harvest crackers. And I bought those for my kids thinking, oh, this looks good. And look for fewer ingredients. So for example, the top one, you can pronounce everything. It looks pretty good. The first ingredient is whole wheat. And look at the second one. Look at all those dioxides, peroxides, like propionate, you know. So get the idea. There's tricks out there on how things are listed to be deceiving. So other words for dairy are casein, caseinate, lactoalbumin, whey, milk solids. All of those are dairy. Sugar, anything that ends in an ose, O-S-E in general is a sugar, dextrose, sucrose, maltose, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, cane juice. But then now they're getting really creative, like, reduced apple. They make it sound like you're getting apple, but it's really just the sugar from the apple.
The organic evaporated.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, I mean, when you get into the question of sugar, I mean, yes, obviously fructose is sugar. Talk about maple syrup. I'm not sure what ose is in maple syrup, but there's an ose in there. You know, I mean, when you're saying like all the things that we're using to sweeten it, into the good sweeteners
Mhm.
are still sugars.
Yeah, they are,
Yeah.
but there's actually antioxidants in maple syrup, and it's kind of a whole-ish, it is reduced, boiled down, but it's a whole
No,
form
it's really
of a
good.
natural sugar.
Yeah.
And honey is pure, natural, and gives you like immunity things that are beneficial. Where, when you have it added into an ingredient, it's usually coming from a chemical lab and is super processed. And when you're eating like an apple with all kinds of natural fructose, you're not just eating fructose, you're eating all the fiber and the protein, the whole package, how it was meant to be eaten in nature.
Have you heard
right?
of monk fruit sugar?
No, monk fruit sugar.
I
mean,
guess it's definitely a sweetener. I mean, it's like
Right.
it's a natural sweetener that's like, 1,000 times sweeter than sugar, but it's not
Yeah.
supposed to affect your system at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
Well,
Any sugar from, no matter where it's from, beet sugar, apple sugar, it's sugar,
maple sugar.
maple sugar, which
Yeah, but
is,
the thing, the other thing
right?
I think
But that's like
that-
reduced and
that-
Is
concentrated.
that okay? Or
No. I would avoid it.
cane juice. I mean, again, I'm sorry to push back, but I mean, cane juice is no different, unless you can explain to me how it's different. It is crushed cane. It
Yeah.
comes direct from a cane. That is what cane juice is. I mean.
Yeah.
you
But it's
know, I mean,
concentrated.
No, it's not. It's literally in
Like
places I've had.
if
cane
you were to
juice squeezed
have
directly out.
A cup of
Sorry.
apple juice
Yeah.
versus a cup of apple, that's different, right? Even though that apple juice is crushed apples, it takes about 6 apples to make a cup of apple juice. So you would never eat 6 apples, so you're missing out on all the fiber, just like kind of the olives and the olive juice. You miss out on the other parts of it.
I think another point on the ad is that like,
Please.
sure, there's sweeteners out there and there's sweet food and we like sweet food and there's a place for sweeteners and sweet food, etc. But you know, the other thing is trying to become aware of how much added sugar is snuck into products that we ingest all the time and that we like. And you might not know why, but here we are, like, you know, Ritz crackers, like delicious. Second ingredient probably sugar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of tomato sauces that we use for pasta, ragu, prager, all those things. Like the second or third ingredient is a sweetener, and then there's another sweetener 2 ingredients later, and then another one. So it's a lot of empty calories that just tickle your sweet, you know, taste buds. So your brain says, this is good, eat more.
So what about,
It's a manipulative move.
so what about artificial sweetener?
What's what?
What about artificial sweetener?
I mean, again, like, what, you know, is the question, is it good for you, bad for you, okay to use, not okay to use? It's a big picture thing, you know, and we're talking about the way the food industry makes foods. So.
But it's bad for you, is the answer, because they've done studies looking at how does it affect your metabolic rate in your brain, like how you perceive it and the whole sweet thing. It's complicated. It's 0 calories, right? But like diet soda, it's very, very bad for you and it leads to weight gain.
Yeah, they say that artificial sugars, your body reacts the same to artificial sugars as regular sugar. But that's why this monk fruit sugar is supposed to not, your body is supposed to not react to it. So that you get the sweet taste, but it just goes right through you without any.
What Dr. Greger advocates for as the best sweetener is date sugar made from dates. So you literally take a cup of dates and a cup of water, you soak them, and then you puree them. You soak it in boiling water, and then that makes this date syrup, and then you use that as a sweetener.
So use the liquid and throw away.
No, the whole thing. You puree it all together and you keep the whole thing. And then I make that, I put it in a container in the freezer, and then you can use it in recipes.
It's just dates and water.
Yeah, and he, in his How Not to Die cookbook, all the sweeteners is date sugar or date syrup, and he tells how to make it in the beginning.
I just had that.
Yeah, we just.
We found something on Shark Tank, embarrassingly enough, but it's called Wanna Do. And it's a spread. And all it is.
It's a good name.
Yeah, right?
All
Yeah.
it is sugar and water.
Not sugar and water.
Not
Date
Date
water.
and water,
Date
yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Date and water.
So they're just marketing that
Right,
product.
right.
So you
So-
can buy it already made, but it literally
Well, she has
takes.
4 different, so
2
there's
seconds.
vanilla, cinnamon, and chocolate, and then just plain, and it's
Yeah, that's,
amazing.
as long as the ingredients are dates, water, and cinnamon.
Wanna
That's
Do.
all it is.
Yeah,
Dates, water, and cocoa.
I like that. All right, fats, lards, butter, oil, hydrogenated oils, all the fats, animal products. So avoid those things. So reading the label regarding sugar, when they tell you on your label how many grams of sugar, you take that and divide it by 4 to get the number of teaspoons to make it make sense to you. So if you're drinking a soda that has 80 grams of sugar in it, which is what a Fanta soda has, that's 20 teaspoons of sugar in one drink. And so as a project at our pediatric obesity clinic, we literally filled the bottles with 20 teaspoons so you could see it. And, and that was super effective. Oh, that's what that is. Those are all our bottles from the clinic and how much sugar was in each one. It's crazy.
And 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon.
Yes,
That's 7
tablespoons.
of sugar.
Yeah, Fanta had the most by far.
That's crazy.
But even strawberry milk, apple juice, this is a baby bottle because I did that on purpose because parents come in with a baby bottle of apple juice. 8 ounces of apple juice had 7 teaspoons
Drives
of
my mom
sugar.
crazy, she's the hygienist. It drives her crazy that parents are letting.
So this label is just the perfect example. Wait, I gotta minimize you guys of everything wrong about. Yeah.
This is vitamin fortified.
Yes,
So some says like, the B2, B1.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
when you
whenever
drink it-
they-
When you drink it, you have to filter out the vitamins as you drink it and just not absorb any of the bad stuff.
No. Okay, so my question is, if I have cereal and it has all these names that I cannot pronounce, but then I know that the nutrition takes there for the nutritional value, which is having those vitamins I need. Right?
So the
Why
names that
can't
you
you
candidate,
just get the vitamins from eating the
The real
ants
food.
and
I can. The
grains?
question is okay, should I have it or not?
No,
No, I wouldn't eat that, no way.
This,
No, for sure not this. I'm not talking about this.
Oh.
This is has blue one Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna touch this. I'm saying in general, if we go by the rule that if there's a name that you cannot pronounce,
Well-
that
the thing is, when they add vitamins, yeah, they sound complicated, but they're vitamins. And it's not bad to eat vitamins, but they usually do that because they refine the flour, take out the germ and the outer bran that has all the vitamins in it. And that's called refine. And then they need to fortify it because they took out all the, so when you have fortified white rice, that's why they do that. They add all the vitamins back in because they took it out.
So
Just
to be
eat-
more specific, I have two cereals, one next to the other. They have the same nutritional value. One of them is vitamin fortified and the other one is not.
Right, I
Which
would
one
read
should
the
I-
first three ingredients. That would depend.
No, let's say they're equal. That's why I'm
They have
making
the
it
same exact
same
ingredients.
exact, and one is
and you're
vitamin
eating,
fortified.
and the
other
rest of your diet is a healthy whole foods diet.
Yep.
Doesn't matter which one you eat.
Well, which one should I pick?
Doesn't
So
matter.
what-
I don't think that exists,
The
to
cheaper
be
one.
honest.
The one that's on sale.
I would just eat oatmeal.
But this is like a food, right? That we literally all know what this is and have probably fed it to our children. And so enriched flour, and they enrich it because they took out all the good stuff. So they add the niacin, you're right, this is a vitamin, iron, B1, B2, folic acid. Those are all vitamins they added back. Corn syrup, which is a sugar. High fructose corn syrup, sugar. Dextrose is a sugar. Sugar is a sugar. Then soybean and palm oil, bleached wheat flour, refined flour, and I'll have some dried strawberries, then it starts to get, but this is like, you get the idea. It's not something you want to eat or feed to anyone that you love. So here's your label. And we're gonna start here at the top at the serving size. So you wanna always look, well, what is the serving size? It doesn't mean that's the amount you should eat. It's an arbitrary thing that they pick. Some of them are standardized, like all these chips seem to pick a 1 ounce serving size. Cereals usually do 1 cup. But it's important to look at because here on this chocolate milk, it's actually, the serving size is 1 cup, but it's a 2-cup serving. So you're gonna drink that whole thing. So you have to multiply everything by 2. So you just have to be aware of that. If you're looking at the label, it says 28 grams of sugar. It's really 56 grams of sugar, which is 14 teaspoons of sugar. Look at the first 3 ingredients. This kind bar, which seems nutritious, is oats, sugar, then sugar. And this Lara bar is almonds, dates, and bananas. Real food. So this was what we showed you on the first class, just as a rough guide. Less than 3 grams of fat per serving, no cholesterol or saturated fat. Sodium, less than the number of calories. So check your package. How's your sodium? Less than the calories. So my chips are 70 and my calories are 130. So this surprising, reduced fat. It doesn't even say low salt, but that's something to look at. And fiber, at least 3 grams per serving. Does anyone have a product that has more than 3 grams? My chips only have 2. What do you have?
I have black bean.
Oh, black bean
I
pasta.
have 5 grams.
All right, and that's whole wheat pasta. How's the hippies
For
for fiber?
5 or 3.
3, good.
None in this.
None,
Zero.
0.
No fiber in the tomatoes.
How's that? 4. Oh, so that's a granola.
Yeah.
But what's the first
dietary
3
zero
ingredients in the
zero.
granola?
Well, oats, wheat, and sugar.
It's a lot of sugar in granola and a lot of oil in granola. That's why I sent you guys all a granola recipe on week 1. It seems hard to make, but it's not. So remember, organic doesn't mean it's healthy. Donuts can be organic. Fat-free and low-fat doesn't mean low sugar. Usually when they say fat-free salad dressing, they put a ton of high fructose corn syrup in it to make it taste better.
And if it's low sugar, they put fat.
Right, exactly. No sugar added doesn't mean it has no sugar, right? So apple juice will say no sugar added, but it has a natural sugar. High fiber, healthy grains doesn't mean it has much sugar or fat. You get the idea, right? So you have to like, really read your labels, and the very best food have no labels. Dr. Stein.
Just watching you, I've heard you do this a number of times and participated, and it really is amazing to me that we sit here holding these like products that are not, they're foods-ish, a lot of them are like sort of entertainment products, but like, we're sort of at war. It's just kind of, I'm thinking about this as you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
We're sort of at war, like the food industry is sort of waging
Yes.
a war against our health. And like, we're sort of
It's
like,
true.
we don't really get it. But these, what you're talking about, all these things are like the weapons
Yeah.
that we need to like defend ourselves against this war, because, and they've won to a large extent because we're all holding these products thinking like, this is food.
Yeah.
And I need to choose the right ones and eat the
Yeah.
right serving size. That's all like dictated, made up stuff
Yeah.
by the food industry.
And it does,
So,
it does
keep
take
that in
some
mind.
time when you've not done this before to read the labels, like to go food shopping and, super overwhelming. But once you know, like I have my favorite crackers. Does anyone have them? Yes, Mary's, those, and then the other ones, the Thin Crisps, the red ones. Love those. Like I buy the same ones every time. I know not to buy Late July now. And you learn. The pasta sauce, the one that you were holding is, I think, has a lot of oil in it and
What?
sugar.
No,
And
no sugar.
no sugar.
No
Good.
sugar.
It is good, but it has a lot of olive.
See, really bad pasta sauces have sugar, and really good pasta sauces that are jarred have oil.
I really like Poblano Farm no oil sauce.
Poblano one?
Poblano.
Mm-hmm. It's a local Rhode Island company too.
Yeah, I have their pizza sauce in it. It's
Yeah, they have,
pizza sauce. is really
they have
good.
pizza
Tastes sugary.
sauce, they have salsa, and they have pasta sauce, and they do make a no oil one. So,
Yeah, there's a little
any
bit.
other comments? Some of these, and just so you know, some of the ones I handed out are good and some are bad. So it's not like we're advocating for all these products. Some of them are that cheese you're holding. What's the first three ingredients?
Organic cashews, filled with water, and organic coconut.
Right. So you don't. Well, first two are good, bad.
The oil.
Yeah, so you gotta have the first three with no oil. And I wouldn't buy a cheese with coconut oil in it anyway, but they do make vegan cheeses made from nuts and no oils.
We tried the one.
Oh, okay.
When you were talking about the.
Kite Hill.
Kite
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It doesn't taste bad.
Make sure you don't eat the whole thing at once.
Did you learn that from?
I didn't know, I just kind of, I wanted
The ricotta is really
to.
good. Plus they have. a
Yes,
bunch of-
their is very good. But BioLife, I shouldn't badmouth company, but I bought their mozzarella and it's the coconut oil and it's not good. And I made a lasagna with it and it ruined the whole lasagna. It was such a waste. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking, when you have, like, that, there is something, because I'm just thinking, if oil is like one of the, but if there's only like a few ingredients, are there things where oil's the third ingredient,
Right, yeah,
but
then you
like where
might
there's
say,
just not really, you
right,
know,
like some of the, well, I don't want them in the nut mouth. Yeah, they're at the end of the list. Like some of the Dr. Prager burger, for
Right.
example, has
Right.
a little bit of oil at the end,
right,
but they're so healthy. All the other ingredients before it are so good.
well, like that, actually, I think there's only 3 ingredients, that the last one is oil.
Right, but,
Oil is the second ingredient.
but how many grams of fat per serving? 9.
Yeah.
How many grams per fat on?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
This is full fat.
Right.
right.
So this is like, these are just like,
Wow.
whole milk versus skim
How
milk
many in that one?
in the
One.
oat industry.
Wow.
Well, it's funny that they call
1
it
gram versus 9
full
grams.
fat. That's the oil they're adding to the product.
Right,
Yes,
It's not
right.
like there's
it's
a
got nothing to
naturally
do with
full-fat
oats.
oat out
Right.
there, and you're getting a skim oat.
That's why- that's why you have
Just
to
like
read
oil
the
or less
ingredients.
oil.
I think it's really the opposite way around.
Right.
I use 365 grams,
Mhm.
but I've never read to see
Yeah,
if there's.
read and see how many grams per serving.
So this is a good
A
one.
lot of these nut milks, it's hard to find one without oil. I went and read them all the other day. This one has coconut cream in it. So it has 3.5 grams per serving. It's an organic cashew milk. It's really good. It's better than the blue one.
Oh, sorry. No, worries.
All right, it's after 7:30. So I just want to summarize. For anyone that had completely normal labs the first time, we're not repeating them. But most people, it's something that we want to repeat. And the purpose is we want to see, after eating super healthy, did these things improve? Hopefully they did. They don't always, but they should. After you do your labs and get them back, email me and we will set up a one-on-one appointment to go over your labs. If you're a couple, you can do it as a couple, or you can do it on behalf of half of the couple, or whatever you want to do. And if you don't want to do it at all, please tell me so I don't keep badgering you. If you're not going to do your labs, tell me so I don't keep looking for them. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but it's up to you. If you don't want to do them, it's your choice. I just don't want to keep looking for them and badgering you if you don't want to do them. And same with the appointment. I'd love to have an appointment with everyone, but if you don't feel like you need it, totally fine. I gave you 2 pieces of paper. One, if you could, can you guys hand out pens? We want to do the feedback right now, if you would, because otherwise my experience, it doesn't get done. So I'd love for you to fill that out before you leave today. If you want to leave a little testimonial, if you loved it, or even if you didn't, whatever, that's super appreciated. And I might use it in social media. And then I also gave you, I also gave you this piece of paper, and this just says, write your name in. I already signed it. And submit it to your insurance company, or if you have like a benefits person at work that is responsible for like wellness dollars that you get like through your work, you might be able to get reimbursed for part or all of the price. And if you do, let me know, because I want to know what's happening out there. We're trying to get insurance companies to pay for this. So
And even if they don't, even if they say they don't reimburse or give you any credit, just submit it anyway, because eventually, we want classes and programs like this to be covered by insurance companies, because it works better than taking a diet medication or doing that surgery. So,
and then follow us on Facebook and Instagram if you are on social media. It's Plant Docs PDD. And if you want to join our cooking class, we'd love to have you join in. There's a few, once a month we're doing them. So the next one's the middle of May, and we use this book if you have it. If you don't, I just send you the ingredients, and you can, it's Zoom like our other classes. Everyone, just about everyone in the class has gone through a Jumpstart. We're gonna be on Chef AJ, who's this famous plant-based chef who has like 150,000 followers from LA, and we're gonna be on her show in August. We're gonna get really famous.
Are you gonna let us all know? when that will be?
Sure, I
That
will.
would be wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can watch it. It's a like, she does a daily show on YouTube at 2 p.m. It's a strange time. But one's gonna be on a Saturday and one's gonna be on Wednesday.
she's got short part here.
Is that? So you guys on Zoom. Wait, where are you? Oh, stop sharing. I emailed you the forms.
I got them,
Did you guys all? And I emailed you your lab slips.
I made that chickpea salad for lunch again today. It was really good.
Oh yeah, that was so good. I loved that.
In a wrap, it was perfect.
Yum. Did you put anything else in the wrap?
Nope. But I had celery, onion, and I guess that was it really in the chickpea.
That's great.
Oh, salt and oregano and all that.
Yum. And yeah. And Mary, you're on, right?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I
It's-
think what was on the straw, I just turned my camera off.
Oh, that's okay. Is Steve with you?
He's in the other room. He was on a work deadline, unfortunately.
You guys have,
To make it a little crazy.
do you guys have any questions for me, for
No,
us?
this was great. I mean, I think it's funny that chickpea salad is my favorite and that's been my go-to too. It's funny you said that, but yeah, no, I think it's good. I think the biggest thing is I feel so much fuller than I thought I would. So
Yeah.
I think it's-
I hear that a lot.
I agree.
All right. Well, you guys reach out to me if you have any questions. I have the recording, if anyone needs it. And yeah, I feel like, I think only 2 people. Okay. I was going to offer to send it to Steve, but I think just 2 people didn't show up. So good.
Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Right. Bye.